H-E-A-L, heal, T-H-Y. The word healthy means heal thyself. Person speaking is always included. Let's look at the word health. Let's spell it. H-E-A-L, heal, T-H. The grammarians drop the Y. The word healthy, the word health is a contraction of heal thyself.
Hi everybody. My name is Bill Young. I'm a health coach and healing is what I'm about. I was diagnosed 6 years ago with diabetes type 2. I also had asthma my entire life. I was able to heal myself of both of those afflictions. Healing, in one sense, is very simple. We've got the owner's manual for the human body with complete instructions. It's also called the Holy Bible. And what does it say to eat and sustain health in the Bible? What does it say? Fruit, vegetables, and water. Okay? No McDonald's, no birthday cake, no fried chicken. It's that simple. And when you follow a holistic diet and holistic lifestyle, you will be healthy. Because think about it. Before there is so-called modern medicine, before there's a Jefferson, before there's a U of Penn, humans cured themselves as a matter of course. We were created to be healthy. That is our natural state. And it's only the influence of the modern lifestyle, the diet, the drugs, etc., that so damages our bodies that they can no longer fulfill their basic purpose, which is to heal. So what I'm all about, and I'm a health coach, so I show people exactly how to do this, is to do things diet-wise, herb-wise, energy-wise, because believe it or not, we're more than just our physical bodies. There's our mind and our spirit that have to be taken into account. There are forces that we are aware of that may seem mysterious at some point, or may have seemed mysterious. What would you say to someone in the 16th century who started talking about X-rays? They were probably the ones who were burned at the stake, right? They're witches. Well, there are forces coming in from the universe that impinge on our health that we don't understand, that we perhaps don't even perceive. But unless they are also dealt with, we're never going to have complete health. So again, just in summation, health is the natural state of the body. To become healthy, we have to remove the impediments, we have to repair the damage done to us by the standard American diet. SAD, right? I call that the sickness and death diet. Because if you eat that diet your entire life, you are going to be sick and you are going to die prematurely. Guaranteed.
Hey family, how's everybody? How's everybody feeling? That don't sound like a health crowd. Well, I am Dr. Paul. I want to welcome everyone through. First of all, has everyone participated in just about everything going on? Raise your hand if you've been part of something. How's the food? Good, good. Raise your hand. Yes. Well, you know what healthy means to us as natural holistic healers that are up here today. I wanted to sum some things up. Only life can give you life. Isn't that what your Bible said? Or Scripture says across the books that only life can give you life. So if you put something dead in you, guess what's going to happen? You're going to be dead, right? So what we want to do is that health is beginning with the energy that you're putting in your body. And that can only come from the live foods that you're eating. You eat dead foods, and that's exactly what you're going to get. Nothing dead ain't never brought you life. So what you want to do is make sure that you're eating something always alive. Plenty of water is always the key. Do you know what the number one thing across the board when we look at all the studies from diabetes, high blood pressure, cancer, all across the board, what's the number one thing you think is the key? Malnutrition and number one, dehydration. Everybody's dehydrated. So what it means is that you have to start, and that's what all these vendors are about, feeding the body, giving the body something that it needs, and guess what? When you feed the body can heal itself sometimes 11 times faster than it gets sick. So that's the shout, y'all. All right? Amen.
Hey, we never late around here. One of the things, of course, that I want panelists to also respond to is a question about both mental health, physical health, and emotional health. And of course, we don't always break them out that way, and you may have your own way of talking about those. But all of those are involved with having a healthy lifestyle and living a healthy life. And I'm not just talking about living, but I'm talking about being happy while you're living. It's no good to be alive and be depressed and live in a state of depression, or to be in a state of pain all the time, or some other states like that. So I'm going to ask y'all to respond to that if y'all, in your own way, through your own way.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd like to respond to that. I use a system that is called kinesiology. Kinesiology is a Chinese system that tracks energy flowing through the body. So I'm going to demonstrate with a volunteer about mental, which will be the brain, physical, we're going to use the heart, and emotional, let's use the liver. So I'm going to muscle test somebody for those 3 points. But before I do that, another way that you can determine your health, both physically, mentally, and emotionally, is by your pH, the balance between acid and alkaline. We were made to, our bloodstream is alkaline, 7.2 to 7.4. I have an alkaline chart here, which I'm going to go over real quick. If you see the yellow section is 2 increments, 5.5 and 5.8. That's acidic. The lower the number of acid, the higher the acid is in the body. If we take somebody's pH and it's in the 5s, something debilitating is going through the body, whether it's mentally, physical, or emotional. If it's 6.0, you have oxygen levels. The number 1 organ for oxygen is the brain. If it's 6.2, you have bone levels. If it's 6.4 to 6.8, something is compromising the body mildly. Sinuses, allergy, things like that. But let's go back to 5.5 to 5.8. If your pH is that level, something is debilitating happening in the body. Cancer, AIDS, HIV, autoimmune diseases, something that's very debilitating. 6.4 to 6.8, I mentioned something is compromising the body mildly. 7 is neutral, 7.2 to 7.4 is where you need to be. So I'm going to ask for a volunteer and we're going to take their pH. Any volunteers? Anybody got cold feet?
While he's doing that, can we allow Dr. Paul to speak while you're doing that?
Sure.
You can come back and give us a report?
Absolutely.
All right.
Sure, exactly what he's saying. pH is the potential for hydrogen. Hydrogen is the greatest source of energy known in the universe. It's the only molecule, 1 plus ion, 1 negative ion, without getting complicated. And everything about hydrogen you've ever heard about has something to do with energy. Did you ever think about that? You ever heard of hydrogen peroxide? Yes. Right? How about what? Hydrogen gas, hydrogen cars? How about that hydrogen bomb? Remember that one, right? Yeah. Energy. Even the sun, when the sun is burning out, that's raw hydrogen. So in every cell in your body, there's a little car engine. That little car engine, guess what it is? That keeps it going. For every cell, you have trillions of cells that make up who you are. But inside of every one of those cells, it's this hydrogen. So when he's taking the pH of that person right now, he's taking the urine, and this, no, he's not taking saliva right now. Yeah, ain't taking no urine. That was a trick question. But anyway, this is what you would do. When you want to find out the holistic number of a person, you would take the urine and the saliva, and then we have a little formula that we put together, and that will give you your holistic number. So from that holistic number, it's based off of this chart here. So he would be able to tell you what level of either generation or degeneration is happening inside of you. Okay? So we must know that pH is the key to it all. There's really nothing else to talk about. When the body's in a state of acid, you are tearing down. And if you're not eating the proper foods, guess what? Your body says, well, hey, you're not eating properly, then I'm going to have to start robbing your bones, your joints, your ligaments. I'll rob those organs too. If I rob that pancreas, that's diabetes. If I rob that bloodstream, that's high blood pressure. If I rob the kidneys, kidney disease. So the body is basically attempting to heal itself. That's all it is. Did you know that cancer is the body attempting to heal itself? Number one place the body loves to go to replenish pH is the hip bone. Who got hip problems right now? Anybody got hip problems? They said so, I ain't raising my hand right now. Well, the hip bone, because the hip has all the calcium in it. So the body goes after that hip bone. It starts to strip that hip. Starts saying, the body says, I can use calcium for anything. I can make any mineral out of calcium. So if I do that, then I can replenish and bring this pH back up. Got it? So that's the knees, thigh bones, all over the body. Awesome.
Bill, going to give you a chance to respond, and while they're doing that, I want to get you prepared. We're going to let you ask a couple of questions to our panelists, and we're going to get a report back here in just a moment as well. So be prepared to ask your question. Bill?
Okay, thank you. You know, there's so many different aspects to this question. I'm sure you're going to get 3 fairly different responses from all of us, because as individual healers, there's so much out there and no one can know everything. But when I look at the mind, some really interesting things are happening now with the research on the mind. How many people know we have 2 brains? Okay, there are a few people who know. Where's the second brain located? In the gut. In the gut. See, when we're embryos in our mother's wombs and we're developing as an embryo and as a baby, the piece that becomes ultimately our brain splits into 2 parts. The main part becomes our brain in our head. The second part becomes the brain in our gut. You know, how many times have you faced an emotional upset and you felt it in your gut? Okay, that is your inner brain, your second brain responding. And many times, if they give you an antidepressant, Zoloft or something, what's one of the primary side effects? Constipation. What's the connection there? They give you something for your brain and you get constipated. It's because it's affecting the nerves in your gut. That's why. And it turns out the health of your gut is now being connected to your emotions, your personality, whether you're prone to violence, your IQ, because the microbes in your gut, in your second brain, produce chemicals, and those chemicals either augment your mental functioning, your mood, etc., or they're detrimental. You can be depressed because of the bad health of your gut biome. That's why you need probiotics. So probiotics may do more, in fact, than just, cure your upset stomach. Probiotics can also improve your mood. So that's one aspect. Another aspect of the emotions is the fact that stress is the unseen killer. Now, stress will affect your mind, whether it's reacting to something real, like if a car suddenly crashed into that wall, everybody would get upset. That's the fight or flight response, right? We're all familiar with that. But the brain does not differentiate, cannot differentiate between real activity and imagined activity. So when you are worried, for instance, about making a mortgage payment, about how your child's doing in school, about where your mate might be at any particular moment of the day or night, those kind of stresses are going to affect you, and when you are stressed like that, your immune system goes dead. Because look, if a tiger's chasing you, what do you need an immune system for? So if you're always stressed like that, your immune system is going to suffer, and that's why, directly, how stress can make sure that you are diseased, because you've got nothing going on. Okay? The last element of stress is the stress that comes from off the planet. Okay? Dr. Rafiq mentioned a Chinese method of kinesiology. It's not the same, but I also use an Oriental method called Reiki. And Reiki is a Japanese theory of health and wellness. And when I perform Reiki on someone, that stress I was telling about, that's ruining their health, that stress goes away. You can actually measure that. You can measure it with a galvanometer. The fact that the stress goes away when you start doing Reiki on someone. So there is more to it than just the body. There's the mind, there's the spirit. They all have to be addressed in their own way to get complete health.
As usual, we can never, in a forum like this, cover everything. I know we want to mention GMOs and maybe a question or two. Somebody, well, I know there's a couple of panelists who can talk about that kind of stuff. But first, let's throw it out to you. If you've got a question that you'd like to ask the panelists, raise your hand right quick and let's see if we can do it. Yes?
I would like to know about, I want to ask Dr. Paul about magnesium, because he said if you're lacking in it, so many things happen.
Okay, magnesium?
Absolutely.
Repeat the question. Repeat the question.
The source of magnesium is good for the brainstem, the entire nervous system. It's also good for the heart. And usually we have those who are deficient in issues with heart palpitations and problems. It's usually a magnesium deficiency. On the list of the top things that people are deficient, vitamin D and magnesium are at the top. So what we try to do is replenish the body with magnesium. A lot of sea vegetables. A lot of sea vegetables. We use a lot of sea vegetables. We kelp, chlorella, spirulina. That's what this is right here. But also you'll understand that, again, we're going back to feeding the body. You got to start eating raw foods. Those vegetables and fruits, they will bring the proper amount of magnesium.
Add to that. Now, magnesium, the medical field measure magnesium by the blood. there's 1% of magnesium in the blood. Because the blood magnesium has priority, but there's 49% magnesium in the bones and 50% in the muscles. So if they measure 1% magnesium, they're not going to find a magnesium deficiency. But if you start getting osteoporosis, they don't tell you you have it until it's almost breaking the body down. But if you just use magnesium on a daily basis, you won't get to osteoporosis.
That's right. That's right. So again, live foods.
And I'd like just might add, magnesium is a buffering agent. It fights acid. So, like Dr. Rafiq was saying, if your body's imbalanced, if it's acidic, and it cannot correct itself, normally it will resort to cannibalism. In order to defeat the acid, it'll rob calcium out of your bones, and it also rob magnesium. So many nerve-related diseases are simply caused by lack of magnesium, which is ultimately caused by the diet. It all comes back to the diet.
And also, one last thing. Magnesium does not use, as the center, if we get a little technical, it does not use the center ion of oxygen. So that means it burns. That means that magnesium opens the door for the body to receive all nutrients. It opens up the door. So that means that you need magnesium to absorb calcium and all other water.
All right, another question? I'm going to take two more. Oh. I'm the talk show host. Go for it.
Okay, I want to ask about the magnesium. Should you take magnesium and calcium together? Does calcium block magnesium?
Should you take
Calcium and magnesium together.
Sure. Well, we always say in the natural field, find out where you are. Remember, if you're taking something that you don't need, then the body has to work extra hard to get it out of you, and that taxes your immune system. So the first thing you want to know is, do I need magnesium? Do I need calcium? And that's what a proper diagnosis that we do in the natural, on the natural holistic side, we do. We do the analysis of the body. The diagnosis of the body is what the ancients used to always do. Let's see where you are first. You don't want to just immediately start to go and take something when you don't know if that's proper for you. Okay?
Okay, is there another? Yes. Dun, 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 dun. I have to sing music, to come back here.
Magnesium should you take?
Say it again? Oh, how many milligrams of magnesium should you take? Any suggestions on that, or how is that measured? Or
When you get in milligrams, you're talking about modern medicine. There was magnesium before they had modern medicine. But magnesium is balanced with calcium. Now, one system that we use is kinesiology. Well, let me demonstrate this like this, kinesiology. Take your hand and roll it around in a circle. Does that feel smooth? Okay, now put your hand on top of your head. The other hand on top of your head. Keep rubbing that finger.